Hello everybody, it's me Colton Johnson with Empty Popcorn Bucket Productions, and I just went and saw the live action reimagining of Lilo and Stitch, starring Aloha. Courtney B. Vance is in this, Chris Sanders returns, we got Zach Galifianakis, so many others, and let's just jump in. So, a few months ago, actually it was like definitely longer than 6 months ago, I released a video where it was my animated feature review of Lilo and Stitch. And so you know what my love of this character, these movies mean to me. I love Hawaii. Hawaii is definitely one of my favorite places in the world. I lived in Hawaii. I served an LDS mission there, and Hawaii has such a beautiful culture. The people are wonderful, and it's just such a beautiful place filled with just amazing aspects that I feel like these movies definitely showcase in great ways. And I'll talk a little bit about that in a second. But the movies itself, Lilo and Stitch, back in 2002, is honestly the top 5 animated movies of all time, in my opinion. It just has so much charm that I just love it. And it honestly is just a great time. So, fast forwarding about 20-something years, and we now have a live-action reimagining, which this is a first for one of the live-action reimaginings, being the first of this century to be remade into live action, which is pretty cool. Lilo and Stitch, mainly Stitch itself, is one of the most marketable characters for Disney. I think it's like the top 3 characters that Disney makes tons of money, which I mean warrants the live action reimagining, but also warrants the credibility for the character to be relevant still. You know, we have Mickey Mouse, Winnie the Pooh, and Stitch. Disney's like top 3 marketable characters. And so it was inevitable for Disney to go around and create this into a live action. And I have to say, they did a pretty good job adapting this movie into live action. Though not every aspect was translated in the way that fans anticipated, there are certain things that they had to change or adapt to make it make sense for this day and age. And a lot of character changes and lack of some characters. But I think all that aside, this movie is still heartwarming, it's charming, it's beautiful. There are some moments that really got to me, especially with my closeness with the culture of Hawaii. I very much loved the references and just the way that Hawaii is portrayed in this movie. Though there's certain aspects I feel like in the animated film that made Hawaii feel more like a character, where I feel like this one's lacking that Hawaii identity in a way, but it's still retained to the most of its degrees. Another thing that I felt like was really strong of this movie is the way they do deal with certain characters. Lilo, played by Aloha, fantastic. I thought she was a perfect live-action portrayal of the character of Lilo. She just does a fantastic job portraying the character, her lines towards other characters, and she acts well for her age. And this, I think, is her first ever movie, and I feel like her career is heading in a good direction. I felt like how they portrayed Nani in this film was really good, and she's great in the original, but I felt like they added so much more to her character that kind of gave you more an understanding of her perspective of everything, and it makes the ending make more sense, and I'll get to that in a second. But there's something about the dynamic between the two sisters that almost had moments that are stronger than the original or added to what the original gave us, which is fantastic. Another standout of this movie, in my opinion, was Stitch. Chris Sanders returned to voice Stitch and still does fantastic. Still has those iconic moments and even more iconic moments that adds to the greatness that the character of Stitch is. And I just loved it. There's so much heart and just so much craziness that you just love Stitch more and more. Another standout is Tutu. David was pretty good. Pleakley was pretty good. And I actually really liked how they did Cobra Bubbles in this movie. But the one gripe that I have I have tiny gripes, but this is the one big gripe of this movie that kind of made me a little frustrated. So, this movie, obviously, let's get the cat out of the bag, does not have Gontu. I felt like how the live action could have portrayed Gontu would have been too much. Like, it would have felt out of place until that part makes sense. And honestly, most of the Jumba stuff makes sense. My only issue with that is the actor. I felt like they could have completely gone with someone more gruffier, and someone who could have portrayed the character better. One I can think of is John Rhys Davies, who is like Sala, Indiana Jones, or Gimli in Lord of the Rings. I feel like he probably would have portrayed a better Jumba, especially with the voice of how Jumba is. I felt like that would have been better. But the motivations of the character, if it had more of a gruffier feel, would have made sense. Because, I mean, in the original movie, he sort of is going after Stitch. That is his plan. And he does have evil intentions, and so they just plus that a little bit. And with the removal of Gontu, like, I guess it makes sense, but it would have been great to see how they could have done that if they did include Gontu, but it is what it is. Another little tiny gripe, okay? This is someone from living in Hawaii, and I actually lived in Oahu, Maui, and the Big Island, and Kauai. And so, like, I know the main islands pretty well, especially living on them for about 4 or 5 months each, and then a year on Oahu. I know certain iconic locations, and you can tell that 85% of the movie, if not most of the movie, was filmed in Oahu. Which, I mean, messes a little bit with the continuity of the fact that the film takes place in Kauai. And though they don't directly make it obvious that the movie takes place in Kauai, but it also doesn't make it obvious that it's like in Oahu either. But obviously, like, when they show the island, it's the island of Kauai. And so that's, I feel like, is my only geographical, like, misstep I feel like this movie has. And, like, casual people going to see this movie will probably overlook that. But I am being hypercritical in that regard. And if I really don't think about it much, like, it's really not gonna bug or impact the film in any regard. But with all that being said, I had a really great time of this movie, and it's definitely one that I will definitely revisit when it comes to Disney Plus. I think it is also one of the stronger live-action Disney reimaginings, making it probably in the top 5 or whatever. I at the end of the video, I'll showcase where it ranks up compared to all the other live-action reimaginings. But for now, I'd say this movie is about a 4.5 out of 5. That may change based on rewatch, but my initial thoughts with my biases, that is where I land this film. But I definitely go recommend this movie to those who have kids. They will love it. I feel like it gives them an introduction to these characters, and I had a blast. So go check it out in theaters and let me know what you think. Or if you've seen it already, please let me know in the comments below. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. I'll greatly appreciate it. So in my last video, I mentioned something about Pixar. I am changing it. I'm going to be doing the rewatch ahead of the live action How to Train Your Dragon. So I'm going to rewatch all the How to Train Your Dragon movies, and I'll probably do a little animated feature review sort of video with that. My Pixar one, I'll probably still do in the future, but for now, I'm going to stick with doing How to Train Your Dragon. I actually watched the first one, and yeah, it was really good. Thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, and share this video, and have a wonderful day. Mahalo. Bye! Mission vlogs.
Yeah.
But check out this bridge. It's
Riding
dope.
dirty.
Riding dirty.
So
we're gonna do this. All right. Oh, this is sketchy. Oh my gosh. This is like that one scene in Shrek. I feel like I'm Donkey. Oh, bitch. Oh, bitch. I don't like this. I don't like this at all.
oh my goodness.
Bailey. Stop, 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 stop. Stop.
I don't like
Bailey,
this
we're halfway
at
there.
all.
Should we get to the
We're
other
not
side?
halfway there, my guy.
Oh. Oh, this is scary.
Oh.
Oh.
Let's go.
This is
We have
not
to
as...
commit.
Ah.